international law, which also now we are about to sign the African Disability Protocol as promised by the Minister on the floor of this House last year, that within the first half of the year we will sign that international protocol as well. And so all these, Madam Speaker, speak to the need for inclusion and participation of persons with disabilities at all these levels to ensure that we can plan appropriately for disasters that affect persons with blindness, persons with physical immobility, persons with mental disability, and persons with the hearing impairment, persons with speech impairment. All these categories of disability, Madam Speaker, require different support mechanisms during a disaster. Some of them need accessibility support for them to move. You can imagine if there is a disaster in this building, we only have one lift, and people who are not able to move on their own will need mobility support. We cannot be lifting people in this era, but we can put certain things that help us to move persons with disabilities properly. Even when you put a lamp, some of the lamps we have seen in Zambia do not actually meet the prescribed international standards, and they have not been inspected. Some of them are a danger because the wheelchair can actually flip because of the way the ramp is put, because the gradient must be slow to allow for the wheelchair to move properly. We need appropriate communication methods to persons with disabilities to be in this bill so that we can speak to the mum and deaf appropriately, because they are Zambians and they are part and parcel of this important bill, and many other activities of the DMMU. Madam Speaker, on the early warning system, we need to be moving within 24 to 48 hours on these disasters, and also have a fund. The way we have the 5% at local constituency level, we need this fund that can operationalize these activities. For example, on Pemba Road in Mbabara constituency, we have, in the last regime, we lost 3 bridges, and this year we have lost the Katoba Bridge, which is cutting off Manacheo area of, on the Pemba Road, which is in my constituency. And we are not having action despite reporting this, because this whole area is cut off. And we have reported both to RDA and to DMMU for them to move on site together and deal with this matter. These are the challenges we have. Katoba Bridge in the Manancheo area of Mbabara constituency. These are the things that affect our people and affect us, Madam Speaker, why we want DMMU to have this amendment bill that responds appropriately and efficiently. Madam Speaker, we also had, for example, another type of disaster, a hailstorm in Itonga chotuita utijihuramabwe. Ijihuramabwe na a hailstorm that destroyed maize in Kasamu area of Mbabara settlements. And again, it's been 2 weeks since we reported this matter. We have not seen our local DMMU to move on site to go and inspect this problem together with the other supporting agencies that need to respond to this, because all the maize was shredded to pieces in that settlement area. And we have written and asked for help. So, Madam Speaker, we want to see an act that will make DMMU be very efficient. The whole issue about disaster is about efficient response within 24 hours. So if an emergency budget should be allowed in the operational manual, let it be put there so much that they're able to respond. For us, under CDF, we have put money. But again, for the local disaster management committees to act, it takes them so long to act. Even when we have responded, we have put money which is there in the CDF, the 5%, which thanks to means of local government, we have that option. But it takes very long. So let's see these factored in this amendment bill so that it can respond appropriately to our issues. Madam Speaker, the people of Mbabara do fully support this amendment bill. I thank you.
Thank you. The acting leader of government business wind-up debate. Madam Speaker, thank you. I thank you for giving me this opportunity to wind up debate. I would like to take this opportunity, obviously, to commend the committee that was charged with scrutiny of the bill, and thereafter presenting this very, very insightful report with recommendations that are basically very, very welcome by the executive. And I must say that with no exception as such, we will take on board all the insightful recommendations that have been made by this very, very hardworking committee that you put in place. Secondly, I further would like to thank, obviously, the following members that debated on this floor, from Chilubi, Lunte, Shiwangandu, Kalab, Mbabala, and finally, Kalabo. Yeah, what is a disaster? I think disasters are at various levels. If I don't eat tonight, it might be a disaster. But what is important is that we have to have a common denominator as to what a disaster basically should be. I must say, in all these debates that the report and debates and the bill, what is very cardinal is that we are shifting from mitigation, disaster mitigation and management of disasters, basically to being proactive. Instead of being reactive and wait for the time when a disaster happens, the bill emphasizes the fact that we should be proactive, identify the risks before anything happens, so that you can ameliorate some of these disasters even before they happen. And so I would like to say, to thank all the members, the committee, the members who debated, and the House for supporting this very, very progressive bill. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. I put the question. The question is that the bill be now read a second time. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. Let the bill be read a second time.
The Disaster Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 1 of 2026.
Committee stage to be taken when?
Tomorrow. Friday, Madam Speaker, Friday, 20th March 2026, Madam Speaker.
Committee stage to be taken on Friday this week. The acting leader of government business,
Madam Speaker, I beg to move.
Sorry. Honorable Minister. It's okay, you can
It's
sit.
okay?
No, you can sit. Sorry. Next order.
Thanks the President's address, motion of 24th February, resumption of debate.
When the House adjourned yesterday, Tuesday, 17th March 2026, the House was considering the motion moved by the Honorable Member for Chikankata that the thanks of this Assembly be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in the President's address. Any further debate? The Honorable Minister of Lands, Natural Resources.
Chairperson, I want to express my gratitude for according me this opportunity to contribute to the President's address to Parliament on national values and principles. Allow me to also compliment other honourable ministers and members of Parliament who have debated on the presidential address to Parliament. as earlier highlighted by His Excellency in his address to Parliament, that as a nation we have continued to embrace our national values and principles which are specified in the Constitution. Allow me also to add a word on the national values and principles in relation to the land administration and management. The mandate of my ministry is to administer, manage, and regulate land, alienation, registration, and mapping, and survey the very land. Chairperson, land administration is not just about managing physical space. It's about people, communities, and the values attached to it. Morality and ethics play a significant role in shaping our decisions around land use, ownership, and distribution of the same land. At its core, land administration should therefore prioritize fairness, justice, and the well-being of all individuals. This means recognizing the rights of indigenous communities, protecting the environment, and ensuring equitable access to resources, which is very cardinal. Chairperson, land administration should uphold the rights of all individuals, regardless of their background or socioeconomic status. As a nation, we have a moral obligation to manage lands sustainably, preserving natural resources for future generations. Chairpersons, ethics in land administration involves transparency, accountability, and fairness in decision-making processes. In this regard, clear and accessible information about land ownership, use, and transactions is essential. Equally, institutions and individuals must be held accountable for their actions and decisions regarding land management. Chairperson, on the contrary, an ethical land administration can lead.
You debated without interruption.
Honorable Minister, you may continue. The Honorable Member for Chirubi, you just indicate.
On the contrary, an ethical land administration can lead to consequences such as displacement of communities, environmental degradation, and social inequality and conflict. To address such challenges as a nation...
Honorable Minister, there is an indication for a point of order. What is your point of order?
I do note that the minister is addressing the speaker as chairperson. We are not at committee stage, and if you follow, maybe the minister would have just done a slip of the tongue. Is she in order to address you as chairperson at this point?
Okay. The Honorable Minister, we are not in committee of the whole House. You may continue with the right address.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, land administration should uphold the rights of all individuals, regardless of their background or socioeconomic status. As regards ethics in land administration, ethics in land administration involves transparency, accountability, and fairness in decision-making process, and in this regard, clear and accessible information about land ownership, land use, and transactions is essential. Madam Speaker, on the contrary, an ethical land administration can lead to consequences such as displacement of communities, environmental degradation, social inequality, and conflicts. In addressing such challenges as a nation, we need therefore to prioritize ethics and morality in land administration. These include undertaking the following measures. 1, strengthening institutions and laws, promoting community engagement and participating, supporting sustainable land use practices. By doing so, we can create a more just and equitable system that benefits all members of society. As the House may wish to note, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources is in the process of strengthening our institutions and laws by coming up with the new Land Act. Madam Speaker, today I stand here to reflect on the significance of patriotism and national unity in the context of land administration and management. As I stand here, I wish to remind each other that our country is blessed with an abundance of natural resources, including vast tracts of land that hold immense potential for economic growth and development. Therefore, patriotism is about putting the needs of our nation above individual interests. It's about recognizing that our individual well-being is intricately linked to the well-being of our country. In the context of land administration and management, patriotism means ensuring that our land resources are utilized in a way that benefits all Zambians now and for generations to come. Madam Speaker, with regard to national unity, on the other hand, it is about coming together as a people with our diverse backgrounds and perspectives to achieve a common goal for the development of our nation. It's about recognizing that we are all stronger together and that our collective efforts can lead to greater prosperity and progress. In Zambia, land is a critical resource that holds immense cultural, economic, and social significance. Our land administration and management systems play a vital role in ensuring that this resource is utilized in a way that promotes national unity and patriotism. However, Madam Speaker, we face challenges in this area. Issues around land ownership, land allocation, and land management, which have the potential to create divisions and undermine national unity. That's why it's essential that as a nation we work together to strengthen our land administration systems, ensuring transparency and accountability and promoting equitable access to land. Madam Speaker, good governance and integrity are the backbone of any successful nation. When it comes to land administration and management, these values are crucial. Land is a precious resource, and its management affects everyone, from farmers to investors and from local communities to the government. Good governance in land administration means transparency, accountability, and fairness. It means ensuring that land rights are respected and conflicts are resolved efficiently. On the other hand, integrity is key to building trust among citizens. Investors and stakeholders. When land administration is corrupt or inefficient, it undermines economic growth. It fuels conflicts and erodes trusts in institutions. Madam Speaker, sustainable development is the way to go, and land administration and management play a huge role in this. We are talking about managing our land resources in a way that's fair, efficient, and environmentally friendly. By getting land administration and management right, we can create a more sustainable future for all Zambians. Madam Speaker, it is sufficing to say that let's commit to promoting patriotism and national unity in our daily lives, particularly in the context of land administration and management. As Zambians, let us work together to build a Zambia that is proud, united, and prosperous for all. In conclusion, I want to say that the administration of land, like has already been alluded to, in a manner that is equitable is the way to go. Anything short of that can cause a lot of conflict. As we stand, Madam Speaker, we have a situation in the country where a number of communities are being displaced because of some of the underhand methods that are going on in the various institutions that are involved in land administration. And that's why the call for inclusiveness in managing land, transparency and accountability is at the core of ensuring that we live in harmony as a nation. As we now go towards elections, it will even be more pressing and more important because some of our people want to do illegal things. They want to get land illegally. They are, doing things in the whole country, by way of allocating plots illegally, using, political party tags, using positions in government, using positions outside government, and sometimes the public who may not know what it is are getting duped and are losing millions of money. I therefore want to say this: as we go towards elections, there should be no illegal allocation of land, there should be no illegal exchange of land and with monies, and investors must be very, very careful with anybody dealing in land who has no mandate to deal in land. With that said, I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. I have 2 leads, so I'll be alternating. The next one is the Minister of Infrastructure. The Minister of Infrastructure.
I rise, Madam Speaker, to support the motion on the speech delivered to this august House by His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, on the progress made in the application of national values and principles. The address by the President was not merely a constitutional obligation. It was a reaffirmation of our collective resolve as a nation that the new dawn government to anchor governance on the firm foundation of morality and ethics, patriotism, national unity, democracy, constitutionalism, human dignity, equity, social justice, equality, non-discrimination, good governance, integrity, and a sustainable development. Madam Speaker, the year 2026 marks a defining moment for our country as we prepare for the general elections. The President has reminded us that national values are not seasonal slogans to be invoked for convenience, but enduring principles that must guide conduct, leadership, and citizenship at all times. Peace, order, and unity are prerequisites for development. And the development itself is the strongest guiding or guarantor of peace. Madam Speaker, the economic landscape of our country is steadily stabilizing from the successful debt restructuring process to improved investor confidence. The foundations for sustainable economic recovery, inflationary pressures are easing, mining production is rebounding, and the confidence in our economy is returning. These gains, Madam Speaker, are not accidental. They are the result of disciplined leadership, difficult but necessary reforms, and a commitment to transparency and fiscal prudence. In the infrastructure sector, Madam Speaker, we have deliberately aligned our programs to the national economic recovery agenda, recognizing that infrastructure is a critical driver of growth and economic transformation through the development and rehabilitation of roads, bridges, and the related infrastructure. We are opening up markets for our farmers, improving connectivity for communities to health and education services, and facilitating trade both within our borders and with neighboring countries by upgrading strategic roads and corridors. Government is strengthening access to key regional trade routes, thereby enabling the movement of goods and services and supporting Zambia's position within the regional economy. Development must not be selective or politically biased. Under the New Dawn government and administration, infrastructure is reaching every province, district, constituency, and ward, because development is a right, not a reward for a few, as it was in your government. Sustainable development remains central to our work The recent drought has served as a sobering reminder that climate change is not a distant threat, but a present and escalating reality whose impacts are both severe and far-reaching, from prolonged dry spells to episodes of intense rainfall and flooding. Our infrastructure is increasingly being tested by extreme weather conditions. We are therefore prioritizing climate-resilient infrastructure, improved drainage systems, durable road technologies, and water infrastructure to protect communities and safeguard economic productivity. The President, Madam Speaker, has consistently emphasized youth empowerment in the infrastructure sector. We are increasing local contractor participation, promoting skills transfer, and ensuring that projects create meaningful employment opportunities for our young people and the women. Infrastructure development must serve as a training ground for the next generation of Zambian engineers, artisans, and entrepreneurs. Patriotism, Madam Speaker, is demonstrated not only in words, but in how we safeguard public assets. As a ministry, we are reinforcing a maintenance culture across all sectors. It is more cost-effective to preserve what we have built than to reconstruct what we have neglected. This shift in mindset reflects responsible stewardship towards application of national resources. Madam Speaker, democracy and constitutionalism thrive where institutions are strong and accountable. We remain committed to working closely with oversight institutions in this House and cooperating partners to ensure that infrastructure programs are implemented within the confines of the law and in accordance with national development priorities. The Ministry of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development reaffirms its commitment to implementing projects that uplift communities, stimulate economic growth, and embody our national values and principles through inclusive, transparent, and sustainable infrastructure development. We shall continue to contribute meaningfully to the realization of a prosperous and united Zambia. With these remarks, Madam Speaker, I fully support the motion and commend the President's speech to the House. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister for Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, before I get to my statement of thanks, let me also join my colleagues in congratulating the two colleagues who have joined Cabinet, young Dr. Kateka here, and the other colleague, Honorable Malama. Welcome. It's a pity, Madam, it's a pity that my two colleagues have run away from here, Honorable Kampiongo and Honorable Kafwaya. I'd wanted to encourage them, Madam Speaker, to read, to be like Dr. Kateka here. And maybe they can be considered for cabinet positions. Yeah. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture and indeed the entire agriculture sector, I wish to express our profound gratitude for the clear, principled, and forward-looking guidance contained in the presidential address. Sorry? Amaka? Madam Speaker, on behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture, and indeed the entire agriculture sector, I wish to express our profound gratitude for the clear, principled, and forward-looking guidance contained in the presidential address. The address has reaffirmed that our national values and principles are not abstract ideas, but practical tools guiding development across all sectors, including agriculture, which remains the backbone of our economy and livelihoods of millions of our citizens. Madam Speaker, food is for everyone, including Binwe, Honorable Binwe Mpud. He has to feed to have the energy to come here. In a country where agriculture drives food security, employment, and rural livelihoods, the commitment of the UPND government on agricultural issues, Madam Speaker, is commendable. Madam Speaker, we applaud the President's emphasis on promoting local content, equitable resource distribution through enhanced CDF and agricultural reforms, including the launch of the CATSIP, the Comprehensive Agricultural Transformation Program. Madam Speaker, these efforts align seamlessly with the values on sustainable development, turning our national values into tangible habits of equity, innovation, and resilience against climate change. By rooting governance in these principles, we have equipped our farmers with a moral compass to combat social vices, embrace unity in diversity, as well as build a Zambia where agriculture ensured food on every table. Madam Speaker, we want to emphasize this. Not just food to fill us, but food to nourish our bodies. That's right. The Ministry of Agriculture pledges unwavering support to implement these visions through an enhanced value chain development, mechanization, irrigation, research and development, as outlined in our national strategies. In morality, Madam Speaker, and ethics, we have prioritized transparent support systems. For example, the issuance of 331,515 plant import permits across the country. The issuance of 162 phytosanitary certificates by the target we had set for ourselves. Alongside that, we have 322 pest control licenses. So if you want to be a fumigator, we welcome you so that you can join in and make your money properly. Thank you. Madam Speaker, the fight for self-sufficiency in fertilizer, in seed. Let me take this chance to educate my dear friend and brother, Honorable for Chirubi, that Zambia is the #1 seed exporter in Africa. And we are also almost taking up a very serious position in fertilizer distribution through United Capital Fertilizer. And now, Madam Speaker, even the nitrogen chemicals, which our friends had actually abandoned, we have pumped in there $1.3 million so that it can become more and more self-sustaining and grow as it supports the agricultural sector in Zambia. That's what the UPND is doing. Madam Speaker, in line with the value of patriotism and national pride, we are supporting local production and consumption of agricultural goods. Local consumption and production of agricultural goods. These are things, Madam Speaker, the country takes for granted. We feed ourselves in this country, and that we must be proud of. We do not import food. We import food when it has to be for choice, but we feed ourselves. Our farmers are feeding the nation, supplying industry, and contributing to export earnings, thereby strengthening national pride and economic independence. Patriotism shines through record production of, say, the 4 million maize harvest. Never, ever achieved before. Same rain, same soil, same fertilizer, same seed. The question is, why? Good governance, Madam Speaker. Good President, President Hakainde Hichilema, and his lieutenants. Madam Speaker, the value of national unity unites us in a shared prosperity with 12 commodity markets established and 10 local international agreements signed by 2026. This issue of national unity is not to be taken lightly. Madam Speaker, look at the peace that our country is experiencing. Yesterday, Madam Speaker, I took time to look at some clips on my phone. And, Madam Speaker, when I looked at what Zambia was going through under the PF, actually, I was shaking. I couldn't believe we were in a country like that. Just look back, colleagues. Look at some clips of what was happening in our country. The fights during elections. Just the nature of confusion when you're moving in town. The painting of vehicles, color of this party which was in, which never happened. We are only doing it because we are going to elections.
Honorable Member from Kana.
Madam Speaker, again we take this for granted. The country was getting destroyed, distorted. There was no national unity. But look at what is happening now. And as a consequence, Madam Speaker, we are now exporting maize to Malawi. We're exporting maize to the Congo. We're exporting mealie meal to neighboring countries because of the peace that the country has. Madam Speaker, if you look at good governance and sustainable development...
Just order. I won't take any points of order because we are behind time.
Thank you.
You may continue.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, I will be very quick. Look at the issue of good governance and sustainable development. Madam Speaker, look at the fight for irrigation. Look at the fight for diversification. Look at the fight for mechanization. Look at how we are doing things now. The question is, why wasn't this happening? We should have been at a very, very different level as a country. Madam Speaker, equity and social justice. When we say e-voucher, it is across the country. When we say CDF, it is across the country. Right. Equitable distribution and also a very high principle of just making sure that everybody feels part of our country. Madam Speaker, I want to thank our hard-working farmers. Very, very hard-working farmers. What we need is to give them extension, to give them support so that their productivity can be enhanced. You don't even know what you're questioning because you know that we are doing the right things. Madam Speaker, the strengthening of public-private partnerships within the agriculture value chain, as in other areas, also reflects our commitment to unity and cooperation. By working together with the private sector, players and cooperatives and the development partners, we are enhancing value addition, agro-processing, and market access for our farmers. Yeah. These achievements are a testament to what can be realized when national values and principles are not only upheld, but actively integrated into policy implementation and service delivery. In this regard, the agricultural sector stands ready to continue building on the gains, ensuring that it remains a key pillar in the realization of our national development aspirations. I thank you.
Thank you. Just a request to those that can debate under 5 minutes, because we are finishing at 18:20. The Honorable Minister for Lusaka Province.
Madam Speaker, I thank you for granting me this opportunity to contribute to the debate on the address delivered to this August House by Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, the President of the Republic of Zambia, on Friday, 20th February 2026, on the progress made in the application of our national values and principles in accordance with Article 9, Clause 2 of the Constitution. Madam Speaker, from the outset, allow me to commend the President for a well-articulated, people-centered, and values-driven address that clearly demonstrates leadership anchored in morality, human dignity, equity, social justice, peace, and national unity. Madam Speaker, on page 3 of the address, the President reminded this House that national values and principles are not just a constitutional requirement, but a moral compass that shapes our character and defines our identity. This profound statement is not mere rhetoric. It is reflected in practical policy choices and measurable outcomes that the new UPND government has implemented in the last 5 years. Madam Speaker, on page 8, the President underscores the importance of equitable distribution of national resources through decentralization, particularly via the enhanced Constituency Development Fund. Further, on page 11, the President reaffirms the historic increase of CDF from 1.6 million in 2021 to 40 million per constituency in 2026. This alone, Madam Speaker, is a demonstration of visionary leadership that desires to bring decision-making closer to the people. On page 16, the President reports the expansion of the school feeding program from 1.5 million learners in 2021 to 4.7 million learners in 2025. This program has improved attendance, retention, and learning outcomes, particularly in vulnerable communities, with over 616,000 learners benefiting in Lusaka province alone. In rural constituencies like Rufunsa, Madam Speaker, this program is not a supplement, it is a lifeline. Many children now attend school constantly, not only to learn, but also assured of at least one nutritious meal a day. Madam Speaker, this is social justice in practice. A hungry child cannot learn, but a caring government does not ignore this reality. Like it happened yesterday in Kanyama, where the President served food to the learners. That is compassionate leadership, leadership in action. Muleke nyateke mpando ndiye wake. Madam Speaker, on pages 3 and 4, that's what it means. The chair is easy.
Order. What is the meaning of the... You said something in Bemba. Can you translate it?
The chair is for the President, Hakainde Chirema. Is the President, and he shall be there even after August. Madam Speaker, on pages 3 and 5, the President highlights government interventions aimed at addressing social vices affecting children, including child marriage and exploitation, through free education and social support programs. In Rufunsa, we are witnessing a silent revolution. The classroom has become the strongest weapon against child labor. This approach reflects the UPND philosophy. Policy with compassion, reform with care. Indeed, Madam Speaker, the historic 70% grade 12 pass rate recorded in 2025 is a direct outcome of deliberate, coordinated, and compassionate policy reform. On page 13, the President highlights the expansion of social cash transfer program, with monthly benefits doubled to 400 kwacha and 600 kwacha for households with persons with disabilities, now reaching 1.5 million households nationwide, and Lusaka province has over 72,000 beneficiaries on the social cash transfer. In addition, Madam Speaker, on page 14, the President reports the expansion of the Cash for Work program to all 116 districts. This program restores dignity of allowing citizens to earn an income while contributing to community development, especially during periods of drought and economic stress. The President's address clearly
10 minutes is yours.
outlines government efforts to confront social vices such as alcohol and substance abuse, teenage pregnancies, child marriage, child defilement, gender-based violence, and child labor as detailed on page 3 to 6. Through free education, skills training, empowerment initiatives, and nationwide sensitization programs, government has committed to protect the moral fabric of our nation. In conclusion, the President's address on the progress made in the application of our national values and principles demonstrates a compassionate and result-oriented approach to governance. It shows how national values, when sincerely applied, can uplift lives, empower communities, and strengthen national unity as it's happening now. Yes, even in Kamfisa, it's happening. It is Chibuluma, it's happening. It is for these reasons, Madam Speaker, that I strongly support the address delivered by the President, and I urge all members of this august House to continue supporting the UPND New Dawn government as we work together to build a peaceful, just, and prosperous Zambia. Madam Speaker, for us in Lusaka province, it is Sotsana Sotsana. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. So, honorable members had said those that can manage to debate within 5 minutes can do so. So we now move to, it's not 5 minutes, it's 10 minutes, but those that can have managed to debate within 5 minutes. 8 minutes, actually, it's 8 minutes. The Honorable Minister for Sports, Youth and Sports.
In summary, Madam Speaker, thank you for this opportunity and privilege. And from the onset, I want to say that I support the address by the President of the Republic of Zambia, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Madam Speaker, the speech was indeed very inspirational and also very inclusive, which reminds all of us of our responsibilities to our nation in upholding morality and ethics, patriotism, national unity. I will apply myself to 3 because of time. And these 3 is 1, upholding morality and ethics, patriotism and national unity, human dignity, equity, social justice, and non-discrimination. Madam Speaker, in line with the presidential speech delivered to this august House, indeed my ministry has made a lot of strides. Now, when we talk about morality, Madam Speaker, and ethics, the President highlighted that drug, alcohol, and substance abuse is one area of concern among the young people. And in an effort to combat these bad vices, my ministry is in liaison with various stakeholders, and we have strengthened sensitization of the dangers of drug, alcohol, and substance abuse. Madam Speaker, the President also talked about social media usage. We have now strengthened sensitization on also the issues of how we are using social media, especially amongst the young people. Madam Speaker, you might be aware that we have people that are in foreign countries who are using these foreign countries as a launchpad for disinformation, misinformation, and also spraying falsehood. So in the ethics, and also it is just morally right that they come back and face justice. So it is important that we use social media for innovation, looking for jobs and other things, than using social media for spreading what I've just talked about, misinformation, disinformation, and also falsehood. Madam Speaker, my ministry further has sensitized more than 25,000 athletes, over 230 coaches on the dangers of drug, alcohol, and also substance abuse, including doping. Furthermore, my ministry, through the National Youth Council, has leveraged on town hall meetings. Honorable Mushanga will be able to bear me witness. We are in Kabwe for town hall meetings, where we are raising awareness on the dangers of what I've just talked about, and also the effects of alcohol, drugs, substance abuse among the youth. Madam Speaker, I wish to condemn this bad habit of non-payment of government empowerment loans. It is just morally wrong. You get a loan from government or from a bank and you don't want to pay back. So as citizens, we need to make sure that we pay the loans. I think it is also morally wrong and unacceptable when young people of Zambia are not paying these loans. We have given more than 9,800 young people, and we are struggling to get this money back. And again, it is also morally wrong. And this, Madam Speaker, it was important when we are debating, our colleagues on your left, as we responded to what they had also talked about, they are here. Because it is also morally wrong for the previous government to keep civil servants, for instance, those council workers, 15 months without being paid. We need to talk about these things. They were going 15, 17 months without being paid. It is only in this government that we are paying these council officials. Morally wrong. So for us, we are doing the right thing. Madam Speaker, let me also talk about patriotism and national unity. This is the only government that we have seen where you bring even councillors from different political parties to interact with the Republican president. It's very historical. It has never happened in the history of Zambia. And we want to congratulate President Hakainde Hichilema for walking the talk. And again, our young people would want to create platforms where they can now engage their policy makers, policy implementers, and themselves. And we have just done that. The last 1 week, we had the entrepreneurship fair, we had the careers fair, we have the National Youth Indawa, we had now town hall meetings in Solwezi, we had sports days. This is how the young people would want to see from their government and their president. This is the only time that we have seen chiefs visiting each other. The first time in the history of this country. We have been going into a lot of ceremonies. We didn't see that before Hakainde Hichilema came into office. So when President Hakainde is talking about patriotism, this is what indeed he means. President Hakainde Hichilema, as for the first time, as an inclusive cabinet, every region is represented, Madam Speaker. So these, our colleagues, I know they will not say anything good about us, but we need to remind them that what they used to do was something very wrong, Madam Speaker. When we talk about human dignity, equity, social justice, equality, and non-discrimination, Madam Speaker, I heard some of our members on your left saying that there is a lot of unemployment in the country. Madam Speaker, have we forgotten? Why are we in this position? Our colleagues on your left, they made, and I always say this, 3 bad decisions. They had to give us as citizens the employment freeze. There was no space for our colleagues that are coming from University of Zambia, from colleges and other universities to find a space where they can be employed because there was employment freeze. They had also increased the retirement age from 55 to 65. Madam Speaker, these 10 years, if, for instance, 5,000 are being offloaded from the job market, for 10 years it was 50,000. So it means 50,000 young people couldn't find jobs. These are the people that did that. But today they are talking about the high unemployment levels. It's not true. As that was not enough, what did they do? When you clock 65 years, they bring you back on contract for 2 years. And yet colleges, universities were busy offloading these students onto the job market. So these are the people that really made our country to have a huge mountain of the unemployed youths. What have we done? We are now reducing the retirement age. We have now removed the employment freeze. We cannot bring back people on contracts unless those who are specialized. This is how this government is doing. The government has put up very good policies, especially which are tilted towards the young people. talk about free education policy, the young people, talk about employment that we have created in Zambia today, public and private. We have created an enabling environment for the private sector to thrive. That's why you can see now in Cabo, which was a ghost town, as now buyer seat. Cabo as now the second tobacco processing company in Zambia, in Cabo there. These are the jobs that are being created. Talk about capital fertilizer. Talk about mining, which has also employed more than 30,000. 95% of these people are young people, Madam Speaker. So we are reducing on the unemployment levels in this country. So they should not talk about unemployment levels, the PF. That's why these people should never come closer to the corridors of power anymore. Because what they did to the young people is something that is unheard of. Never again. My appeal to the Zambian people is to make sure that these people should be forgotten completely. And we need to remove them from the history books. Because what they did to the Zambian people is unheard of, as I said. With that, Madam Speaker, I want to thank the President for his vision and leadership. And I also want to thank those that debated positively. This is the President that we've been looking for. Mr. President, please continue helping the Zambian people, because indeed you are a Messiah. With those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I beg to move. Thank you very much.
The Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I wish to add my voice, Madam Speaker, to those that have spoken before me, to thank the President of the Republic of Zambia for the well-balanced address made to this August House on 20th February 2026 on the progress made in the application of national values and principles. Madam Speaker, from the outset, kindly permit me to thank Mr. Hakainde Hichilema for having provided exemplary leadership in promoting peace in the country, as Zambia remains an undisputed champion and beacon of peace in the region. Madam Speaker, as mentioned by the President, morality and ethics are important values that shape the character of our families, communities, and the nation at large. Indeed, we rally behind you, Mr. President, to ensure that we bring up responsible children who do not engage in alcohol, drug, and substance abuse. We want them to grow into responsible citizens and take our country forward. Madam Speaker, we are grateful to the free education policy, which has enabled our children in millions to be in school. As has been repeatedly said by our President, education is an equalizer and remains the best investment and inheritance. Madam Speaker, the UPND administration is committed to promoting good governance and integrity. The President made it unequivocally clear: if you are corrupt, you are on your own. There are no shortcuts. Under asset recovery, we applaud his initiative, as we have seen the recovery of many vehicles as well as helicopters. The transport sector has also seen an end to the days of grossly inflated road contracts and ghost transport projects. Madam Speaker, coming from a sector that contributes significantly to climate change through carbon emissions, I am happy that the new Dawn administration has scaled up efforts in its adoption and mitigation efforts, thereby strengthening resilience. From the transport sector, we are promoting the use of electrical vehicles, revitalization of the railway subsector, and promoting the use of non-mechanical transport, among other initiatives, to reduce on the carbon footprint and help serve Mother Earth. We also commend our government's drastic reforms to tackle the electricity challenge head-on. For the transport sector, reliable power is essential for our airports, border posts, and automated way bridges. Madam Speaker, with the attainment of macroeconomic stability, the UPND government stands on firm ground to say that benefits will trickle down to all. The citizens will increasingly feel the benefits through a gradual but sustained easing of the cost of living.
In transport, stability is crucial. It stabilizes the cost of fuel imports, reduces the cost of vehicle spare parts, and gives our transporters predictability. Madam Speaker, indeed, 13th August 2026 will be yet another defining moment, and we are grateful that the President has appealed for calm and peaceful elections. Madam Speaker, under his tutelage, under his leadership, this country has undergone by-elections where even the country did not know that there were elections taking place, because we have done so under a peaceful environment. We should remain a united people despite our political affiliations. I echo the President's call that for every Zambian to demonstrate the highest level of restraint, respect, and responsibility. We must reject all forms of violence and divisive politics, particularly that which was associated with the previous government, the PF government. Never again, Madam Speaker, and Zambia indeed is growing into a much, much great country. Madam Speaker, thank you for this opportunity.
I will allow the Honorable Minister for Northwestern under 5 minutes before I call upon the Acting Leader of Government Business to be the last person to debate.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Madam, I'm grateful for according me this opportunity on behalf of the people of Northwestern Province to comment on the speech delivered by Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, on the progress made in the application of national values and principles delivered to this House. Madam, I wish to congratulate the President and indeed the people of Zambia on the good policies implemented by the new Dawn administration that have resulted in the positive growth of the economy, manifesting through low inflation rate, appreciation of the kwacha against other convertible currencies, reduction in monetary policies rate, among others. Madam, under morality and ethics, Northwestern Province wishes to categorically state that we have greatly benefited from the initiatives of the government, such as free education, skills training, and empowerment for our youths and women. This has made a number of our youths and women who otherwise would have been engaged in immoral and unlawful activities to be preoccupied. Madam, under patriotism and national unity, the province has been empowering local suppliers by ensuring that they actively participate in the supply of goods and services to the mines, which are the major players in the provincial economy. Further, the province, in partnership with the Kasanshi Mine, held a tender and bid training workshop for local suppliers and contractors to be provided with practical insights into the tendering processes. This, Madam, has not been happening in the previous government. Evaluation criteria and compliance requirements for Kasanshi Mine in a bid to implement the local content regulations. To promote safe and legal mining, Madam, the province undertook training for artisanal and small-scale miners for them to be empowered with necessary skills for safe and legal mining. And Madam, 400 cooperatives were trained and licenses were issued. Madam, if I say 400, this means the province has trained more than 1,000 youths. Madam Speaker, Under democracy and constitutionalism, we appreciate the enactment of Bill 7, which will see Northwestern Province being adequately represented in this August House. Madam, Constituency Development Fund has continued to impact positively on the lives of our people in the Northwestern Province. For sure, CDF, Madam, is a game changer. What we are seeing in our constituencies, we have never seen it before. Madam Speaker, our children were sitting under the floor, but this time they are sitting on the desks. Our children were learning under the trees. This time, Madam, we have built classroom blocks. Maternity annex has been done. Madam Speaker, with these few words, allow me to support the speech by Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, who honor the Vice President, Mr. Miracle. For sure is Mr. Miracle. Madam Speaker, with these few words, I submit and support the speech of the President. Thank you.
Thank you. The acting leader of government business.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, allow me in the first instance to join the rest of the members of Parliament and Cabinet ministers in congratulating our newly appointed ministers to Cabinet, Honorable Katakwe, Alex, and the Honorable Member from Foe, as Minister of Health and Minister of Small and Medium Enterprises, respectively. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that this Honorable House do place on record our sincere appreciation and gratitude to the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, for the comprehensive and insightful address delivered to this August House on the progress made in the application of our national values and principles on the 20th of March, 2026. Madam Speaker, the address by the President was not merely a report to Parliament, it was a reaffirmation of the moral compass that guides our nation. It reminded us of our national values and principles, that national values and principles are the very foundation upon which our country stands. The values are the pillars that shape our policies, guide our governance system, and define who we are as a people. Madam Speaker, the progress outlined by the President demonstrates government's unwavering commitment to building a just, peaceful, and inclusive society. From the expansion of social protection programs, the strengthening of democratic institutions, the reintroduction of free education, and the enhancement of health and social services, government continues to demonstrate that national development must remain people-centered and inclusive. Madam Speaker, allow me to particularly highlight the importance of peace, unity, and national security, which remain fundamental pillars for the successful application of these national values. Without peace and security, national development cannot flourish, democracy cannot thrive, and the well-being of the citizens cannot be safeguarded, neither can they be guaranteed. It is therefore befitting that as we debate the application of our national values and principles, we recognize the critical role played by the Ministry of Defense through the Zambia Defense Force in safeguarding the peace and security of our republic. Through the professionalism, discipline, and unwavering patriotism, our men and women in uniform continue to preserve the peace and stability that Zambia has enjoyed over many decades. The Ministry of Defense, therefore, remains steadfast in upholding our constitutional mandate, that is, viz. to safeguard the sovereignty and territorial integrity and stability of the Republic of Zambia. Madam Speaker, our defense personnel embody the spirit of patriotism and national unity. They come from every province, every district, and every community of our great nation. Yet, when they wear the uniform of service, they represent only one identity, and that is Zambia. They reaffirm a living example of the principle of one Zambia, one nation. And one nation, one people. In my constituency, I even say one people, that people, you and me. Madam Speaker, beyond safeguarding our sovereignty and territorial integrity, the Zambia Defense Force continues to play an important role in supporting national development and responding to national emergencies. Whether providing support during natural disasters, assisting in humanitarian interventions, or supporting infrastructure development in times of need, our defense personnel consistently demonstrate their commitment to serving the Zambian people. Madam Speaker, Zambia has also continued to honor its long-standing reputation as a beacon of peace through participation in United Nations, African Union, peacekeeping missions. Our defense personnel continues to contribute to international peace and security while carrying the Zambian flag with pride, integrity, and distinction. Madam Speaker, as we approach the 2026 general elections, the message delivered by the President could not be more timely. Democracy thrives where peace prevails, and elections must always be conducted in an atmosphere of tolerance, respect, and unity. They call for all citizens to reject violence, hate speech, and divisive politics is both necessary and commendable. The Ministry of Defense, working closely with other security wings, remains committed to ensuring that Zambia continues to enjoy peaceful and stable environment in which every citizen can freely exercise their democratic principles, rights. Madam Speaker, as the President rightly reminded us, the journey towards building a united, prospective, and peaceful Zambia is, I'm just about to finish, shared national project. While we celebrate the progress that has been made, we must remain committed to doing even more to advance welfare and well-being of our people. Madam Speaker, allow me to thank you most sincerely for the opportunity, and I beg to move.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Chikankata wind-up debate.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me thank all the honourable members, provincial ministers, cabinet ministers who supported this very important speech presented to this House by the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I submit.
Thank you. I put the question. The question is that the thanks of this Assembly be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in the President's address. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Of the contrary say no. The ayes have it. The question is resolved in the affirmative. The acting leader of government business adjournment.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the House do now adjourn.
Notice of an item for debate on the motion of adjournment of the House has been received. The Honourable Member from Nkana.
Madam Speaker, I rise to move a motion in which motion I am asking government through the Minister of Health to rescind and renegotiate the terms and conditions of the joint venture agreement.
10 minutes for him. You may continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was saying I rise to move a motion in which motion I'm asking government to rescind and renegotiate the terms and conditions of the joint venture agreement for the construction of a pharmaceutical plant between ZAMSA and Akums Pharmaceutical Limited.
You may continue. It's 10 minutes for you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, permit me to start by congratulating my brother, Honorable Katakwe, who has just been appointed as Minister of Health to serve in that office for approximately 2 months. This motion seeks to particularly put him on line to stand on the pedestal of morality by doing the right, or making the right decision, on behalf of the Zambian people. Madam Speaker, it will interest you to note that on the 19th of October 2025, in a speech read for the President by the Minister of Sport, the President did announce to the nation that government had decided to enter into a joint venture agreement between ZAMSA and Akums. Akums is a pharmaceutical company, from India. In that announcement, the President did announce to the nation that this particular plant was going to be manufacturing after completion 750 different drugs and other related medical supplies. It would also interest this august House that this particular undertaking will cost about $22 million, in which ownership will be shared between government through ZAMSA, 49% shares for government, and 51% shares by Akums. Now, Madam Speaker, I wish to put it on record that the desire to strengthen industry and supply chain resilience by supporting local drug manufacturing is very commendable. This particular joint venture, on face value, is very commendable because it signals that Zambia is going to be manufacturing drugs from within.
Order. We don't have a quorum.
No, we've been trading like this, Madam Speaker, for a very long time. So we continue. Madam Speaker.
Order.
While this arrangement...
Order, the Honorable Member Fonkana, you may take your seat. You can ring the bells.
Good evening. Live visuals on Parliamentary television. Business cannot proceed for now because there seems to be no quorum. 1/3 of members of Parliament need to be present in the House in order for business to be transacted. And so on the floor of the House is a notice of subject for debate on the motion of adjournment. This comes from Ghana Member of Parliament, Mr. Bino Mpodu, and the notice of subject for debate on the motion of adjournment states, rescind and renegotiate the terms and conditions of the joint venture agreement for the construction of a pharmaceutical plant between Zambia Medicines and Medical Supplies Agency, that's ZAMSA, and Akums Drugs and Pharmaceuticals Limited. And so the Ghana Member of Parliament was just giving us insight regarding this particular motion, and we do expect other members of Parliament to add their voice to this motion that is on the floor of the House. So as soon as the quorum is constituted, business will resume.
Yes, indeed. So far, the House did consider 3 ordinary questions under Standing Order 82. And of course, there was also consideration of one bill, a second reading, which is the Disaster Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 1 of 2026. And we do expect committee stage to be taken on Friday, 20th March 2026. Thereafter, there was a resumption of debate on the motion of thanks, the President's address. This is the motion of 24th February 2026, that the thanks over this assembly be recorded for the exposition of public policy contained in the President's address. And the motion has been adopted.
And so the House also considered 3 questions for answer understanding order number 80. And of course, we did have quite a number of announcements that were made by Madam Speaker. So as soon as the quorum is constituted, business will resume. In case you've just tuned in, there's a notice of subject for debate on the motion of adjournment. And this one is coming from Mr. Bino Mpundo of Nkana constituency. And it states that rescind and renegotiate the terms and conditions of the joint venture agreement for the construction of a pharmaceutical plant between Zambia Medicines and Medical Supplies Agency ZAMSA and Akams Drugs and Pharmaceuticals Limited. So I would urge you to stay tuned right here on Parliament Television as we wait for a quorum to be constituted. And if that does not happen, business will come to a close. The House will adjourn. So we wait for a quorum to be constituted. Do stay tuned right here on Parliament Television. Good evening.
10:47. Plus 7 minutes. 18:30.
On Island of Eastern Province.
Yeah. Order. We have only 2 minutes remaining. If we don't form a quorum, we adjourn. order. So in line with Standing Order number 238, the House now adjourns as there is no quorum.
The House has adjourned, so we do expect the House to commence a sitting tomorrow at 14:30 hours time now to look at the business which has been transacted on the floor of the House at the time business commenced at 14:30 hours. So, Madam Speaker did make some announcements. In the first announcement, she recognized the presence in the public gallery of a permanent witness of Committee on Local Government Accounts from the Ministry of Finance and National Planning in Lusaka District. And Madam Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, welcomed the visitors to the National Assembly.
Madam Speaker also did recognize the presence in the public gallery of students from the University of Zambia Law Association in Lusaka District, pupils and teachers from Holy Cross Convent School in Lusaka District. On behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, she warmly welcomed the visitors.
And Madam Speaker, and the other announcement did inform the House that in accordance with the provisions standing orders 1763 rather, she made changes to the composition of the following committees. Committee on Youth, Sports and Child Matters, Dr. Elijah Muchima, MP, to replace Honorable Alex Katakwe, MP. Committee on Health, Community Development and Social Services, Mr. Elias Mubanga, MP, to replace Honorable Alex Katakwe, MP. And Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources, Mr. Vumango P. Musumari, MP, to replace Honorable Malama Mufunelo, MP.
After those announcements, the House did consider 3 questions for oral answer under Standing Order number 80. Question 255, which was the first question, did come from Mr. Chinkuli of Kanyama. He did ask the Minister of Local Government and Road Development a question in 3 parts, whether the government has in plans to increase the number of kilometers of roads to be upgraded in Kanyama Parliamentary Constituency under the Lusaka Urban Road Rehabilitation Project from the initial 1.9 kilometers to 10 kilometers. And in response, the Minister of Local Government and Road Development did say that government does have plans to rehabilitate roads in Kanyama Parliamentary Constituency. In the other part of the question, the Kanyama lawmaker wanted to find out when the plans will be implemented, and the minister did say that plans will only be implemented once funds are made available.
And question 256 did come from Mr. Christopher Kangombe, Kamfinsa Member of Parliament. He did ask the Minister of Agriculture in A, what the government policy on enhancing maize production for domestic consumption and export is, and what quantity of maize in metric tons the government is targeting to produce from 2026 to 2030 year by year, and what for the Food Reserve Agency is meeting the above target is. In response, the minister did say that some of the policy on enhancing maize production for domestic consumption and export include adopting the irrigation processes so that maize is grown year by year, and also adopt climate change analysis systems for farming areas. And in answering part B, which was what quantity of maize in metric tons the government is targeting to produce from 2026 to 2030, the minister did say that in 2026 the government is targeting 4.5 million metric tons, 2027 5.6 metric tons, 2028 7 million metric tons, and 2029 8.6 million metric tons, and in 2030 10 million metric tons. And in answering part C of the question, which was what the role of the Food Reserve Agency, FRA, in meeting the above target is, the minister did say that keep storage, management of strategic reserves, as well as market price stabilization, among others.
Question 257 did come from Mr. Chinkuli of Kanyama. He did ask the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development whether phase 1 of upgrading of Kanyama parliamentary constituency under the urban upgrading program in Lusaka district has been completed. And in response, the minister did say that phase 1 of the upgrading Kanyama parliamentary constituency has not been completed. In the other part of the question, Mr. Chinku wanted to find out when phase 2 of the project will commence. And in response, the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development did say that phase 2 will only commence once phase 1 is completed. So those are the 3 questions for oral answer understanding order number 80 that were considered on the floor of the House.
Yes, indeed, thereafter the House did consider orders of the day. The Disaster Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 1 of 2026, was read third time, and committee stage to be taken on Friday, which will be 20th March 2026.
And there was resumption of debate on thanks. The President's address. This debate has since come to a close. Members of Parliament were actually debating the presidential speech. He was in the House addressing the nation and the House on the applications made in on the progress made in the application of national values and principles. That was on the 20th of February. And some members of Parliament have actually been, adding their voice to the President's speech. And this debate has since, come to a close today.
Yes, thereafter, Mr. Bino Mpundo did bring a notice of subject for debate on the motion of adjournment titled Rescind and Negotiate the Terms of Conditions over the joint venture agreement for the construction of a pharmaceutical plant between Zambia Medicines and Medical Supplies Agency ZAMSA and Akam Drugs and Pharmaceuticals Limited. And we did see the quorum collapse, and this motion was not considered.
All right, and so that's all the business that we had for you today. Would like to thank you for having joined us. Be sure to join us tomorrow at 14:30 for live parliamentary proceedings. Of course, in the morning we have our committee sittings. From all of us, it's bye-bye. Take care. God bless.